Psychedelic drugs have been known to cause some peculiar and offbeat hallucinations in people. Yet DMT is the one substance which has gained a reputation to incite visuals of a similar nature. N-dimethyltryptamine is one of the most powerful psychedelic substances on the planet, and the experience it offers is so profound that it's commonly described as an out-of-body journey to alternate realms and dimensions of existence beyond the physical universe. People under a high dose of DMT repeatedly and uniformly say the experience is more real than real. It's the most real that's ever happened to them. That reality just seems like a dream compared to the pure solidity and convincing nature of what happens under a high dose of DMT. DMT provokes realistic encounters with otherworldly beings, including those famously described by ethnobotanist Terence McKenna as self-transforming machine elves. This topic raises all kinds of fascinating and profound questions about the nature of reality, about the nature of consciousness. What's really strange is that in almost every case, DMT users report that when they're in these experiences, these DMT entities appear intelligent, conscious, self-aware, and just as real as you and I.
Spiritual in nature though, right? Like you're just...
Yeah, really, my whole life totally changed. It sounds like a movie script, but it's really the real deal.
It is bizarre that the entities that people have claimed to have seen after ingesting DMT are strikingly similar, and scientists are attempting to understand why. Terence McKenna famously popularized this idea of DMT machine elves, these little elf-like creatures or beings that inhabit these spaces, these alternate planes of existence. And this experience is actually so commonly reported that researchers at Johns Hopkins University wrote an entire research article on this very topic of DMT entity encounters. Also, Dr. David Luke, author of DMT Entity Encounters, said, "Encounters are really common. The most common are little people, dwarfs and pixies." Also included in the cast of characters summoned by DMT are giant praying mantises that are typically experienced leaning over you and doing some weird operation on your brain. While this might sound like a nightmare scenario, a recent study co-authored by Luke found that people most commonly describe these entities as benevolent, with only 8% perceiving them as malicious. DMT experiences can translate quite strongly into metaphysical and theological shifts. Indeed, more than half of the respondents to the Johns Hopkins study who identified as atheist before their encounter no longer claimed to be so afterward. As unbelievable as all this may sound, 81% of respondents said their encounter felt more real than anything they had ever experienced previously, with 2/3 continuing to believe in the existence of these entities even after the effects of the drug had worn off. Consider for a moment as well that the idea of a multiverse of alternate universes, or parallel realities, realms and dimensions outside of space and time, is an ancient idea that goes back thousands of years and is very commonly accepted in modern theoretical physics.
DMT is 100,000 times crazier than that. It's like mushrooms times 1,000,000 plus aliens.
I mean, the string theory and M theory are just two examples of scientific theories that postulate the existence of alternate places or dimensions of existence outside of this physical universe. So what's going on here? Could DMT really be some sort of hotline to another dimension? Or are these experiences merely the product of aberrant brain activity? If all of these DMT entity encounters are all just some hallucination, how can we explain the consistency at which they're reported? I mean, thousands of people from all over the world, independently of social, cultural, religious background, all describe these beings in very similar ways. One explanation is that DMT stimulates regions of the brain which give rise to both the visual aspect of a being and also the experience of sensed presence. While it goes without saying that these drug-induced encounters are underpinned by neurobiology, it's very difficult to account for certain highly typical experiences, such as having one's emotions harvested by a giant praying mantis. A host of alternative explanations have been put forward, ranging from the psychological to the mystical. Ultimately though, none of these explanations are satisfactory for a variety of reasons. and it's best to keep an open mind as to the nature and origin of DMT entities. And as Nikola Tesla once said, the day science began to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all previous centuries of its existence.